because, and the reason why they use them is because they have similar social characteristics as humans. And they gave these mice or rats, whatever they were, I think mice, they gave them heroin. And they're like, whoa, okay. And then they put them together and they offered them heroin. They didn't take the heroin. I've heard the same thing happen with Coke too. And so then every time the mice would go to get together, they'd shock them to kind of deter them, from interacting with each other, from socializing. So when they'd socialize, they get a shock. And then when they would do that, they would go back to the heroin. Like when they couldn't be a part of society, when they couldn't socialize, that's when they were like, F it, I'm going to go do some heroin. Mm-hmm. But if you're invited into a community, into a society that respects you and loves you, everything's cool.
That's really interesting.
Mm-hmm. It really was. It was a good call. Or a good Zoom thing that was on. Chris Cornell's wife, she was dropping knowledge left and right. I was like, damn. Mm-hmm. I was like, that's pretty cool. And then you were like, who's Chris Cornell?
I didn't know.
I was like, no.
I don't know why you're laughing. I don't think the whole world knows who that is. Why are you still looking at me like, yeah, they do, Marty? Everyone knows who that is.
Yeah, everyone knows.
No, they don't. Mm-hmm. No. Anyway, but I did want to circle back to what you were talking about at the beginning of this, which is the individuals that are in treatment, in rehab, what have you. And I really feel like it's important. I think the biggest piece that I would say to try to relay to the people, quote unquote, the people that are saying yay or nay on approving, getting individuals from treatment to their home, wherever home is that it's important to keep the momentum going for people that are in treatment. I know, and I say that because I know how I felt when I was in treatment, and I know a lot of people can say that when you are there, there are lots of feelings, lots of emotions, and the majority of the time, and I feel like the majority of the people, I would like to say, while they're there, the idea that they can live sober and clean for the rest of their lives definitely crosses their mind. Like, I can do this. I can do this. And it's an honest and true belief. Mm-hmm. It's not just, they're not just trying to, just say it. Not for everybody. Not everybody says that and means it. Not everybody even says it. But I'll tell you what is that if you did have that inkling and of belief that you can do this and you will give it a try, you will give it a shot, a real, honest go at it, in living outside in that outside world without picking up a drink or drug, we want them to have the best possible chance of making that happen. And the second that you walk out that door with that bag, you're in the real world again. Mm-hmm. And I know we're just talking about getting you from A to B, right? Or if you want to call it that, if you want to call it, okay, you're done with treatment and you're going to wherever's next for you. I mean, all bets are off when you're out back in the outside world. You're going out there. That's it. So you're responsible for your recovery, period. But when you have that flow and that energy and that momentum when you leave, like you can do it, it's a really vulnerable spot to be in, to have something like a crazy bus stop where nobody knows you, where, drugs are being offered to you or available to you, or you're at a pit stop or whatever layover in a location where for a fact people there, you have contacts or connects or whatever that you could get a hold of. You might not get on that back on that bus to get to wherever your destination is that you call home, because it's that easy, and especially the liquor store thing. We for a fact that it's 1-2 blocks away from anywhere that you stop at, and you may or may not get back on that bus. And so, yeah, I mean, in the big picture, there are no promises. I mean, recovery comes from within, and it takes a lot of work, and it's an inside job. People say that over and over. But recovery rides is what we're trying to do is like, let's try to make that chance a little bit more, a little bit, give it a little bit more strength. Get them from A to B, and have a little breakdown process of how did treatment go for you? What would you work on? What do you feel like, your challenges are going to be when you get out, when you get to where you're going, and what do you have some backup plans? Tell me about them. They probably went through all that stuff while they were in treatment, hopefully. But to hear it again, you're a new person and we're recovery coaches. So we want to hear about it. We want to hear about, when I drop you off, what are your plans? Are you going to hit a meeting? Or are you comfortable with Zoom, figuring out Zoom, how to do it? I mean, little tiny things, and it might only be a 2-hour drive, but it might save that person's life to like actually get them, started, keep that momentum going and keep them on the right track. So, because I know that if I wouldn't have had a safe ride to get from when I got out of treatment to where I went, I can't say that I wouldn't have stopped at the store. I don't know. But I was being held accountable, and I kind of kept that momentum going. I wanted to ride that rainbow. I was like, I feel good. I can do this, and let me, what's next for me? Let me do the next right thing, because I don't want to go back to that. So.
And with COVID too, you think they would even want to use this even more. I don't know. It's crazy. And it's just a couple of them that are like, whoa. But like Northern Michigan Regional Entity, it's people call it NMRE. Sarah from there, she's the SUD director, substance use disorder director, and she's awesome. Like she gets it. When I met with her last year, she's like, that's awesome. And that's when, she was like, might have some stuff coming up. And then we wrote our grant for $1 billion. And she was like, I don't think that's what we can do. But right. No, she's worked with me and gave me some great tips. And it's frustrating sometimes for me because I'm like, I want it now. I want to do it now.
Yeah.
But that's just not how the world works. And that's where I kind of get frustrated and kind of, when I'm pulling the curtain back and the places and they're just dancing bears running around. And I'm like, what's going on back here? Like I was just at this other place and I opened the curtain and it was nice fine dining. And why are these bears here? It's just like, and I don't know if that's just difference between somebody, and this is no offense. Usually when people say that, they're meaning to offend people. But if some people care more about what they do at their job and other people it's just a job. Mm-hmm. When I worked certain jobs, to me, it was just a job. Like yeah, sure, man. I don't own this company. I just work here, like just kind of putting in the minimum.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of how it goes. And not saying that that's bad, but that's just kind of a bad industry to be in. Recovery is a bad industry to be in to do that.
You got to be a certain kind of person to interact with the treatment piece and any piece of it. Counselors, even down to the lunch ladies. I say lunch ladies because when I was in rehab, the lady reminded me of our lunch lady when I was a little kid. But no, any employee that's working, in a treatment center in any capacity, you have to be a certain kind of person. You have to be accepting and not judgmental. And, we're people. We're real people. And, we have feelings and, we can get better. That's what we're there for. And yeah, we have made mistakes, but that doesn't mean that who we are today is something to be ashamed of or, looked down upon for. So shame on those people for thinking that if they do. But I know what you're saying. I mean, that you have to have a passion and an understanding, to work in this field.
Some people take it too far. I mean, there's the extremist in this too, which I don't think that's really healthy, and that's just my personal opinion as a professional radio broadcaster. But it is what it is. It's funny though, because I've worked with people at treatment centers who aren't in recovery, and I remember being in recovery or being in active addiction, trying to be in recovery, and going to treatment, and I'd always wonder, is that guy that works here, is he in recovery? or hear some other people, you know, in the hall, or like, hey man, you know, kind of give me a spiel. This is this, and kind of the rundown of what's going on through the day and who works there and who's cool or not, and blah blah blah. And Eric, oh yeah, man, he's cool. He's in recovery too. So blah blah blah. Like they already get like a cool pass just for being in recovery, and it's kind of the same where I kind of sort of work now, and it's just like guys will say that like, oh, there's one dude and he's cool, he really is, but he doesn't pretend to be in recovery, you know, but he's trying to understand. He's a young guy, and sometimes they'll say stuff, and it's just like, oh, I just go, oh, that's really not going to go over well with the guys. But for him, you know, it's a job, but he's trying to learn, and I think he's going to be great. I think he's going to do a great job, but just that willingness, you know, sometimes I'll be talking to some guys, and I'll just kind of see him. But first I'm like, well, you taking notes, bro? And then I realize, yeah, he probably is, you know, mental notes. Not that he's going to try to do what I'm trying to do, because he can't. You know, I'm having a one-on-one with this guy about, you know, his addiction, and I'm like, I get it, you know, but I think he's just kind of going, oh, okay, you know, Corey listens a lot. Like he talks to me a lot, but he just listens a lot when other people at the center are there, and that's one of the things that I found works out best. And you know, they'll teach you that in recovery coaching too. Is just listen.
Yes.
You know, it's not about you.
Right.
You know, listen to the person, and you know, if there's a moment that you can kind of connect to, come back to it later, you know, but just let them get it out. I had to take a guy, it was like a 2-hour trip, hour and 55 minutes of it. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. Wow.
That's what, obviously he had some stuff he wanted to talk about.
Let
him go.
Cool.
Yeah.
At the end, he was like, wow, I'm so glad. And he even said it, you know, I'm so glad that you came and got me and I didn't have to ride a stupid bus, because he's like, that would have been bad. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to start recording people saying that.
You should.
Just have that be the open one day. Yeah. That'll be the whole show.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. But I don't know. It's frustrating, and it'll all work out how it's supposed to. But Hope Not Handcuffs, they obviously get it.
Yeah.
They do a great job, and they just opened their program up to Northern Michigan. And Families Against Narcotics, if you need a recovery coach, if you need any kind of help, any assistance, I recommend you reach out to them. Great people that I've met so far. Mm-hmm. Nothing but great people work there. So they'll help you if you need some.
Yeah.
And there's a link on our resources page. You go to resources, then like help stuff, or I don't think it's called help stuff, but help services.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a link to that, or you can just old school Google it.
Yeah, that's an amazing program. Mm-hmm. They do good things.
But yeah, and they, you know, obviously they have us contracted as their transportation service in Northern Michigan, which I'm very proud of. And again, it's people that I've worked with in the past that know my passion, and they know it's well, Corey's not messing around. Like, this is something he wants to do. And is he perfect at it? No. Damn close though. But I mean, they understand, and they know the person will get there safe, and I'll show up on time, and follow the rules, and everything will be good. But some, you know, not everybody is bad. You know, like I said, sometimes you pull back the curtain and you see nice fine dining, and other times you're just like, what is going on?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just want to put a common sense robot in there and just send them on in, kind of like the police. Like little robots they send in to check for bombs. Just send it in for some common sense, and then just common sense, everybody.
Be nice.
I know, that is nice. You know, just, and I mean, I don't know. Obviously, that woman felt like I was putting her down, or I don't know. She definitely felt on the defensive. And that's not what I was meaning to do when I sent her an email. I just put people's names where they needed to go, and was like, hey, here's the deal. I wasn't going to be home homming around so-and-so who works for so-and-so, and they said, no, I was like, boom, here's this. This is what I was told. You know, what's up?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that did put her on the defensive, so she felt she had to defend herself and her staff. And
well, I mean, the thing is, at the end of the day, all we really can do is explain to them, you know, what it is that 217 Recovery Rise does, why we do it, and if they can find a way to do it. I mean, this is where your little monkeys behind the curtain thing comes into play. okay, whatever, comes into play is, are they willing to actually put it all together and figure it out?